Hey everybody out there in YouTube land, I'm John and I'm back with another video on my channel Musings of a Marine. Hope everyone's doing well out there. Thank you for the new subscribers and the views that I got over my last heartfelt video about the people in the Philippines and how much they've had to endure. But if you want to talk about having to endure something, what I wanted to talk to today, this past Monday was the 250th anniversary of the United States Marine Corps. Now, obviously, I call my channel Musings of a Marine because I'm very proud that I served in the Marine Corps. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. When you become a Marine, you stay one for life. It never leaves you. This year is the 40th year since I was discharged from the Marine Corps. I have been out of the Marines for 40 years, but the Marine stays. It is so firmly ingrained into your psyche, starting with boot camp or basic training, that it never fully leaves. So here I am, 40 years later, and wearing the same Marine Corps regulation haircut that I did back then. So there's a lot of turmoil in the world, and there always has been. And the great thing about this country is we have historically the greatest fighting force that's ever been on the planet, protecting us, protecting people all over the world, not just here in the United States, but fighting for people all over. And Iraq, Afghanistan, the Philippines, all kinds of islands in the Pacific, in World War I, where the Marine Corps got the nickname Devil Dog from the German army because of the tenacity that they fought with. I was watching a video the other day, one of my favorite vloggers, a Filipino lady by the name of the Filipina P. And she paid tribute to the veterans here in the United States, and she told an excellent story about the Battle of Leyte Gulf. And she pretty much nailed it on how it happened. I remember learning about that battle in high school. You know, when I first went to the Philippines, there was only two places I had ever heard of, Manila and the island of Leyte, because of the Battle of Leyte Gulf. And she talked about how during that naval battle, the Japanese ships were heading towards Leyte, and they were going to shoot naval gunfire at the island because we already had troops there that had landed, as had General MacArthur. One thing I was disappointed about was she didn't mention that there was also Marines there, not just members of the United States Army. There was a lot of Marines there fighting as well. And General MacArthur himself said, "I have been to the front lines and I have seen the Marines, and there is not a finer fighting force on earth." And that happened 81 years ago, okay, when we invaded the Philippines to take it back from an evil empire at the time. So think about that. Think how long the Marine Corps tradition goes back, all the way, of course, to the Revolutionary War, when we gained independence from England. The Marine Corps was founded November 10th, 1775, in a bar, naturally. Tunn's Tavern in Philadelphia. Doesn't exist anymore, but the Marine Corps spirit does. And it not only has had an impact on my life in terms of my appearance, but my whole life in general. You know, I was explaining to some coworkers the other day, you know, my one coworker is always laughing about how whatever he seems to like or the general populace seems to like, I don't. And I told him the story about, how when I was a kid, my dad called me Contrary John because I really had my own mind and I liked to do things that other people in my family didn't do, or I had different tastes. And then along comes the Marine Corps. I'm the only one in my immediate family who ever volunteered to join the armed forces. And I had to do it all out. I had to go Marines. People say, oh, you should join the Air Force. Hey, you like being on a ship, join the Navy. And I did look into the Navy. My dad was in the Army, but he was only in for 2 years, never left the state of Michigan, and he was drafted. He did not join on his own accord. He was forced to. None of my siblings ever joined the armed forces. My best friends growing up, and my cousins Bill and Marty, never joined the armed forces. Some of my cousins did, but out of all my cousins that lived here in Michigan, I was the only one who went Marines, at least for my generation. So, yeah, it changes you. I went in the Marine Corps, and here's some other things I'd like to mention about me as compared to my immediate family. I am the only one who has ever held a supervisory position. I attribute that to the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps teaches you leadership values that you just won't find anywhere else. My supervisors consider the van team that I run is to probably be the most efficient one in our company. Well, why? Because I don't demand anything less. I go in there and the Marine comes out. I took over a van team and the Marine takes over me. No nonsense. Let's get the job done. I'm barking out orders like I'm a drill instructor on a parade deck. But we get the job done. And the funny thing is most of the drivers that work under me respect me. So you don't have to be a softie. You don't have to be someone who's going to always pat people on the back, though I do sometimes. I compliment when it's deserved. I criticize when it's deserved. Some people don't have the guts to do that, but when you're a Marine, you do have the guts. It just comes right out of you. I am the only one in my immediate family that ever traveled outside of the United States other than Canada. And it just amazes me that in this great, big, beautiful planet that we live on, when there's so many things to see, that no one in my immediate family ever had any interest in doing any of that. I always used to joke that I've been to all these other countries and I've never been to Florida. Well, guess what? You could check Florida off the list now, too. I finally got down there. And, of course, there's a good military presence right there as well, being, of course, a state that's right on the ocean. So, yeah, it's been that big of an impact on me. The leadership skills, the sense of adventure. I told this story before about how my Marine Corps recruiter talked about, how cool it was to go to the Philippines, mostly because of the women there. He was right. So I go down there in '84 when I'm stationed in Okinawa, Japan, and I've been back there 7 times since. And not to Angeles or Olongapo. The last 6 trips to Iloilo. There's a whole nother part of the Philippines that I never even knew about, and now I do. And then the last trip, I went to 5 new islands that I had never been to before. Didn't get to spend a lot of time on some of them, but I've been there, and I've seen things that people in my family and my cousins, most of them, have never seen. And to me, they're missing out. They really, really are. But how did all of this happen? What gave me that sense of adventure that still burns in me today? My wife and I talk about, next time we go to Europe, she wants to go to Spain. Hey, I'm down with that. I want to go to Switzerland, see the Alps firsthand, right before me. I don't know of a more majestic sight you could see than that unless you were looking at the Himalaya mountains and Mount Everest. These are the types of things, and that still just burns in every Marine out there, I think, that they're willing to take on adventure. They want to live it for as long as they can until our bodies just give out on us. And trust me, everybody, they give out on us a little bit earlier than most. And it wasn't just the Marines that have caused me to have knee problems and elbow problems and shoulder problems. It's just the way I live my life, playing sports. I was the guy who dived for the fly ball in practice. I beat my body up because to me, if you're going to do something, if you're going to compete in something, you might as well give it your all. And that's the Marine Corps spirit. For 250 years, the Marine Corps has given its all, no matter where it's been. And I'm so proud that I can be a part of that. And there's a lot of Marines like me that almost feel a little bit, I wouldn't say cheated, but like we talk about how proud we are, and some of us never served in combat. And it's like we didn't quite serve this country enough. There's Marines, a lot of them out there, myself included, who feel that maybe we could have served a little bit more and given a little bit more and gone through some of the things that some of the other Marines and other servicemen have gone through in recent memory and all the wars since the Marine Corps history. But even so, it's like I told a Marine friend of mine, you still should be proud of your service because we made sacrifices ourselves. I lost a bunkmate in boot camp and a roommate in Camp Pendleton, California. Both of them died while I was serving. And it's sad, but that happens. And you know that every time you go up into an aircraft or you're dealing with weapons of any sort, that you're putting your life at risk. And whether you're at war or not is beside the point. My bunkmate Rob Murray, who died when his helicopter exploded during some training over mainland Japan or nearby, and all were lost at sea. There's that risk that you take. So, a lot of people will say, well, yeah, you're a Marine, and there seems to be the luster to that seems to be lost on some people, even those who served in other branches. And I've heard people say, oh, well, the Navy's got the SEALs and they're the baddest of all. Of course, these people who say that have never served in the armed forces or Army Rangers. And you know what I say to those people? I say, yeah, you're right. Army Rangers, Navy SEALs, badasses, total badasses. I'd be happy to go to war with any one of them if I still physically could. But the Marine Corps, everybody is a basic rifleman. Everybody. You can have a radio communications specialty like I did. You could be in administration using a typewriter most of the day. But when the call comes, you're going to grab that rifle and you're going to shoot it straight and true because you've been trained to do so, and you get trained every year to do so and make sure that you know how to do it right. And I don't know about all the other branches of the service, but the guy in administration, the guy on the radio, they're expected to pass a tougher physical fitness test, and they are expected to go on 3-mile or longer runs and be able to handle it. You don't give that part up no matter what you do. And I think that's what gives Marines the pride that we had the toughest basic training, and also our lives during our time in. We don't have as good of living quarters. We don't have as good of equipment. Certainly didn't when I was in. A lot of it was Army hand-me-downs. But we made do with it, and we succeeded. So my Marine Corps recruiter's birthday was about a week and a half ago. And there was a thought in my mind that when I wished him happy birthday, you know what I should have also done? I should have thanked him. Because if it wasn't for the Marines, the life I live today, the things I have seen and done, and the leadership skills that I have learned and use frequently, I don't know if I'd ever had any of that. I don't know if I would have done any of that. I'd just be a middle-aged guy married to some overweight white woman instead of an exotic-looking Asian woman. I don't mean as an insult, but it just happens so often. And I didn't live that. And by going overseas, going to the Far East, and realizing there's a lot of beautiful women in other countries too that have a mystique about them, and by marrying a lady from a country like that, that just opens up a whole new world that I am so thankful for. So I just had to get this off my chest, everybody. I love the United States Marines, and I love my country. And of course, the day after the Marine Corps birthday is Veterans Day. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart to everybody that served this country, not only in the armed forces, but in, any kind of public service where you save lives and you protect people. It's so important, and I think anyone who's done that deserves respect. So, thank you. Thanks for watching this video. God bless all of you, and Semper Fi.